What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic Book Nerd, where we talk all things major movie television news. I'm your host on the channel, Grant Sullivan, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking down episode 4 of Secret Invasion. Scene by scene, we're going to break it down for you, go over some theories that we had was true. So right off the bat, spoiler warning, this is going to be my Secret Invasion episode 4 breakdown and review. Obviously, the past couple of weeks, we've been super busy, been on vacation, so we haven't had a bunch of time to talk about Secret Invasion on the channel. But regardless, we're hopping into Secret Invasion, so let's dive into it. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, we open on the Marvel Studios title card, which is the first time that we have done that all season, interestingly. We pick up from the scene where Gaia died in episode 3, and we see that she used some type of device to bring herself back in that Skrull. Obviously, we know that they've been creating super Skrulls, so that's probably what they used to bring her back. And that's what she did when Gravik was gone, because obviously they've had some personal issues, but that's probably what they did when Gravik was gone as well. So, she comes back to life, and she is indeed not dead. We figured this from episode 3. We knew that she probably wasn't really dead. So, she is alive once again. And after the credits, then we get to the credits, obviously the opening credits. And then we start in Paris of 2012, right after the events of the Avengers film. We see Nick Fury enter a bar as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Looks like he's coming home from work or something. And Fury then meets his wife. His wife basically is saying, hey, I know you formed the Avengers, so good job on that. Basically telling him that she knows that he formed the Avengers as well, and getting the Avengers together and saving the city of New York. Now, his wife also says that he was always good at protecting the weak. This obviously implies that he was protecting the Skrulls this whole time, right? So, Nick Fury and his wife are basically talking about the events of the Avengers movie. This taking place after the events of the first Avengers movie all the way back in 2012. So, granted, that's what they were building. Okay, so we have to go back from Avengers 2012 as well really quickly. So, we know that Fury was protecting the Skrulls, and this brings up an interesting point. So, Nick Fury, there's a particular scene in the Avengers where Nick Fury is with all of the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk in a room, or Bruce Banner in the room, and they are talking about people infiltrating Earth. And obviously, Thor then says to Nick Fury, my people don't mean you no harm. And then Nick Fury basically says, he's not talking about you, there aren't just others out there. This referring to the Skrulls exactly. So we had a reference to the Skrulls all along in the first Avengers movie. We, as an audience, just never knew it because they haven't introduced us to Skrulls at that point yet. That is just a quick little flashback scene for you right there. So we then see that they are having a conversation, him and his wife, and see that they are still talking about the Skrulls. This shows us that Fury still knew about the Skrulls this whole time, throughout the event of Age of Ultron when he was helping with the Avengers, 2012, and this is probably one of their first dates, I would say, or somewhere around there. But we then see Fury's wife meet up with Rhodey at a church, who we think presumably is a Skrull. Later on in the episode, though, it does get revealed that Rhodey is a Skrull. And Rhodey is telling them that they need to kill Fury, basically saying, hey, if you're not going to kill Fury, then I will kill Fury, and then you will die as well. Rhodey then gets up after their conversation, and he is dead set on killing Fury, and we see that Fury, being the amazing spy that he is spying on them the entire time. Rhodey basically pissed off at him as well. So, we then cut to a scene with Gravik, and it looks like that they are getting their plan ready. Gravik is actually working on their plan. We see them loading up a plane, and we presume it's the bombs that they use in the later half of the episode during that fight scene. So, there you go. That is what that scene is all about. And we see a man tell Gravik that Nick Fury also has, or should, that they should be worried about Gaia, but Gravik says he took care of her. Obviously, this being she quote unquote died, but she really didn't. She came back to life as well. Then we cut to a scene with Talos and Gaia, and they're talking about what the next step is to taking down Gravik. Talos gives her a plan, basically saying, "Hey, we're gonna threaten the president." Gaia doesn't like this plan, gets up and leaves. This is also very, very sad because this is one of the last conversations that Gaia has with her father before she died. Actually, I think it's the last conversation that she has before Gaia dies as well, or Gaia's father, Talos, does die as well. Talos basically explaining their plan to infiltrate the president, threaten the president, and hopefully they'll have enough home for the Skrulls as well. We then cut to a scene of Nick Fury in his home with his wife, Nick Fury, obviously, and then Fury makes some tea and tells her that he has to go to work soon, and that they sit down and have a real conversation as well. Fury tells his wife that he has lost all reason to be their husband, basically saying, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing anymore." They both pull out their guns because Fury knows that his wife is going to kill them. She knows that he's been working with Rhodey. Rhodey tells him that he is going to die. So basically, they exchange gunshots, and interestingly, they both miss. And then we get an off-screen, but they indeed both miss because obviously both of them are still alive as well. Nick Fury then asked the question that came up in the poem in 2012, all the way back in 2012. And then Nick Fury asks them if she got out of his life. Fury's wife ends the conversation by asking if he would have loved her if she never changed. And then Fury says, "I guess we'll never know." Interestingly enough, before we move on to the next scene, Fury asks his wife about how she chose that body of who to pick when obviously they were picking out bodies as well. We then get the entire backstory, not really have time to go in it. Fury basically leaving after that and then basically saying, "Hey, I think we need to get a divorce," and something like that as well. We then cut to a scene of a Skrull taking a shower. We then reveal, once it steps out of the Skrull, we see that Skrull wipe off a mirror, and it is revealed that Rhodey is a freaking Skrull. We knew this was probably most likely the case. Rhodey would not fire Nick Fury, would not have Nick Fury dead. Rhodey and Nick Fury are really, really close. They were one of the two people as well to start the Avenger Initiative. So, Fury, we assumed, and we get this prediction right as well, that Nick Fury is a Skrull, or Rhodey is a Skrull, not Nick Fury. I assume Nick Fury could be a Skrull as well, but more on that in a bit. We then see that Fury broke into Rhodey's very expensive hotel. It is a very nice hotel, by the way. And they have a talk about Skrulls again. Fury is catching on to Rhodey being a Skrull, and the real reason that Fury is there is because he wants his job back. Rhodey then explains to Fury that Fury is going to go to court for the death of Maria Hill. That is why he fired him, because of what Gravik did. Fury tries to tell Rhodey that Gravik did kill Maria Hill, but Rhodey is not having it right now, and the conversation ends, and Rhodey says that he can leave now, and that's where the conversation ends as well. Now, a couple things I want to mention before we start off with this. Number one, Fury did put that liquid gel in Rhodey's drink. When Rhodey drank the bourbon, it worked. Now they have a tracking device to where they can track Rhodey later on in the episode if they needed to. So, that's point number one. Point number two, Fury is very smart. Fury is catching on to Rhodey being a Skrull. I don't think that Nick Fury doesn't know or knows yet, but I think by the time episode 5 hits and something like that, I think Nick Fury will absolutely know that Rhodey is a Skrull as well. If Rhodey dies as well, then Rhodey is probably most likely going to be revealed to be a Skrull to Nick Fury. We then cut to Talos and Nick Fury, and Talos is showing Fury the liquid gel that they used in Rhodey's. This is, I guess it was before that scene, and then after this we meet the president. Now, the president is not Harrison Ford yet, but here's my theory on how Harrison Ford comes into the MCU as President Ross in Captain America: Brave New World. my theory on this, on how this plays out. Now, granted, I was typing this up before I saw that the president almost died, so we don't know if he's dead yet. But my theory is that, Nick Fury or Rhodey and the president will both be revealed to be Skrulls. Obviously, Rhodey already being revealed to be a Skrull. We will get a couple years of the actual president in his term after all of this, after the aftermath of Secret Invasion. But when it does not want to go the way the United States wants it to go, they will then elect President Ross to be president. I think that is how President Ross is going to be coming into the MCU. If you ask me, that is perfectly fine with me if they do that right there in Captain America Brave New World. And then we see that the president and Rhodey, now back to the episode. We then see that the president and Rhodey meet up, and the president basically asks Rhodey if he's been drinking, because obviously he's catching on to that as well. And Rhodey tries to play it off cool as well. We then see that Gravik is about to intercept them and start attacking them, and we see that the president almost dies in this episode as well. We then get a big fight scene between the United States, Gravik, and the Russians. Obviously, this was all Gravik's plan, was to start World War III. It's working very, very good if you are Gravik right now as well. Fury and Talos then come in to help the fight. Now, interestingly enough, this is where Talos starts to get a little trippy. Gravik finds out that Fury is there, gets really pissed, and then turns into a Super Skrull like we've seen in the trailers. We have seen that we know that Gravik is a Super Skrull, and it makes us wonder what is it gonna take for us to kill a Super Skrull. We know that Gaia did not die, and she literally got shot in the heart. We know that Gravik, towards the end of this episode, did get shot in the face, and that didn't faze him at all. So it's making us wonder, what will it take to kill a Super Skrull? Hopefully we get that reveal in episode 5 or episode 6 next week or the week after next. We then see that Talos try to save the president, and we see what we think to be an American soldier help Talos in battle, but Fury knows it's Gravik. Fury yells at Gravik to put Talos down, but Gravik does not listen, shoots Talos, and kills him. Talos is dead, we think. The episode ends with Fury and the president driving away after Talos gets killed. So, right off the bat, after this recap of the episode, let me know what you guys thought of the episode in the comments down below. What would you rate it out of 10 if you are still watching to this point as well? But number one, Gravik shooting Talos. Obviously, he's torturing Nick Fury, right? We know that Gravik loves to torture Nick Fury. He doesn't want to kill Nick Fury yet. He wants him to suffer as much as he possibly can before Gravik does get killed, before he does kill Fury as well. So, granted, so a couple thoughts right here real quick. This episode continued the MCU show's theme. We know of the 4th episode being very violent. Obviously, in WandaVision, it was pretty violent as well. Falcon and Winter Soldier, we had that John Walker killing that man with the shield and getting blood on the shield and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So this show continues the theme of episode 4 being very violent for MCU shows. But that is going to be all for this week's breakdown of Secret Invasion episode 4. It was a great episode if you ask me. 38 minutes of real action. Not that bad of an episode either. Definitely up there for what I am ranking. I'll do a ranking later. But that is going to be all for today's video. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, turn that bell on. We do our best to post every single day. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments down below as well. And I will see you guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.